helps the voiceless creature. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel The Vet Tutorial. Today we are going to study the anatomy of digestive system. Before studying the digestive system, you should know under which category digestive system come. So it comes under splanknology. Splankno means viscera and logy means study. Splanknology is a Greek word which means study of visceral organ. Visceral organ includes digestive, urinary, reproductive, and respiratory systems. And remember that visceral organ means internal organs of the main cavity of the bodies. But before starting this, subscribe my channel and also click the bell icon, and if you like this video, give a very big thumbs up. Let's begin. Then let's start with the introduction of digestive system. I think everyone knows for what digestive system is responsible for, or we can say what is the main function of digestive system. So it is responsible for breakdown of food into smaller portions so that it can be utilized for energy, growth and cellular renewals. Remember that nervous tissue, blood vessels and lymphatics all play an important role in digestion. Digestive system includes alimentary canal and accessory organ. Alimentary canal extends from mouth to anus. Alimentary canal is lined completely with mucous membrane and external to which is an almost continuous muscular coat. Hence we called as it is muscular membranous tube. And remember that abdominal portion of the tube is largely covered with serous membrane, which is a visceral peritoneum. Let's divide the alimentary canal into following segments. First is mouth, second is pharynx, third is esophagus, fourth is stomach, fifth is small intestine, and lastly, sixth is large intestine. Then, accessory digestive organ, which means an organ that helps in digestion but it is not the part of digestive tract. The organ includes teeth, tongue, salivary glands, liver and pancreas. Then let's study briefly about the origin of organs of the alimentary canal. The organs are primarily formed from ectodermal, the germ layer that lines the yolk sac. Although the muscle and connective tissue that supports the organs are mesodermal in origin. Then let's start with the first segment of alimentary canal, that is mouth. Remember that mouth includes lips, oral cavity, its wall, accessory structure that is tongue and teeth. These are located within the mouth and also include salivary gland, which is also an accessory structure, but this salivary gland drains its product into the oral cavity. Remember that degree to which mouth opens varies between species depending upon feeding habit. In animals that use their teeth to capture prey, that is carnivores, much of their mouth opens, while in herbivores or rodents, a small orifice opening is present. Mouth includes vestibule or vestibulum oris and mouth cavity proper, or we can say cavum oris proprium. It is also called as proper oral cavity. Vestibule is again subdivided into labial vestibule and buccal vestibule. Labial vestibule is the space between teeth and lips, and buccal vestibule is the space between teeth and cheeks. Vestibule is bounded externally by lips and cheeks and internally by gums and teeth. The vestibule communicates with mouth cavity proper by means of interdental space, means space between the teeth. Then mouth cavity proper. The boundaries of mouth cavity proper are the front and laterally it is bounded by alveolar arch, gums and teeth. Then roof, or we can say dorsally, it is bounded by palate, and floor, or we can say ventrally, it is bounded by mandible, muscles and mucous membrane. This mucous membrane is continuous with the pharynx posteriorly and anteriorly with the lips. The mouth cavity proper is continuous with the pharynx behind the oropharyngeal opening. And then study about lips. It is two in number, that is upper and lower lips. It acts as a frame for the opening of the mouth. It is thick and rigid musculo-membranous structure, and externally it is lined by skin and internally it is lined by pigmented epithelium. Lips also contain tactile hairs in some species. Remember that the form of lip is determined by diet and feeding habit of an animal. Let's take an example. In case of horse, lips is used for collecting food and which helps in entering in the mouth. For this purpose, the lip must be sensitive and mobile. And in case of cats, the teeth and tongue are more important for prehension than lips. The lips are less mobile and much reduced in size. And in case of dogs, it is important for communication and it is extensive but thin. And also it is incapable of food intake. Then in case of ox and pigs, the upper lip is modified to form extensive moist structure. In case of ox, it is in the form of glandular nasolabial plate, and in case of pig, it is in the form of rostral disc. The upper lip is divided into medial groove, which is called as philtrum in dogs and small ruminants, and mainly orbicularis oris and incisive muscles are present in the lips. And then muzzles. Muzzle is made up of upper lip and nostril. Muzzle is also called as plenum nasolabial. It is keratinous and generally black in color. It remains moist due to the secretion of nasolabial gland and it is marked by grooves. Then Frenum labii inferioris. It is the fold of mucous membrane between lower lip and gums. Remember that upper lip is included in muzzle and lower lip is included in Frenum labii inferioris. And the lips is innervated by the cranial nerve 7, that is facial nerve. And then let's study about gums. Gums is also called as gingiva. It is fibrous tissue which is covered by mucous membrane and is closely attached with periosteum of alveolar bone and is surrounded by neck of teeth. And remember that before erupting the teeth, or we can say before teeth eruption, gum pads develop. These are the slight elevation of overlying oral mucous membrane. Then let's study about palate. Palate is divided into hard palate and soft palate. Then let's study about hard palate. Hard palate forms the roof of the mouth and is composed of dense connective tissue. It is also covered by mucous membrane and it is attached with bony palate which is formed from palatine maxilla and premaxilla. On the surface of hard palate, there are many transverse ridges, that is 15 to 19 in number. It is slightly concave backward and serrated at the margins. And serrated means zigzag appearance. Anterior to hard palate, dental pad is present. Remember that dental pad is present only in cattle. It is formed due to the absence of incisor teeth on upper jaw. It is formed from the thick layer of connective tissue on body of premaxilla and it is covered by cornified epithelium. And a small triangular structure is present between the dental pad and first transverse ridges, which is called as papilla incisiva, and the incisiva ducts opens on either side of this papilla. A linear groove or rapid divides the surface of hard palate into two equal halves. And then let's study about soft palate. It acts as a partition between mouth and pharynx. It is composed of muscles and glands and it is placed in sloping manner from hard palate to pharynx. And remember that the oral surface, that is surface towards the mouth, is concave and the pharyngeal surface, that is surface towards the pharynx, is convex. Two folds of mucous membrane is present. First is palatopharyngeal arch, or we can say posterior pillar, and second is palatoglossal arch, or we can say the anterior pillar. So, palatopharyngeal arch. As the name indicates, palato means palate and pharyngeal means pharynx. Means fold passes from palate to the pharynx. Hence, we can say that palatopharyngeal arch extends laterally on the posterior border of soft palate to the lateral wall of pharynx. And then palatoglossal arch. Palato means palate and glossal means tongue. It means fold passes from palate to the tongue. Hence, we can say that this fold extends similarly from the soft palate and terminates at the root of the tongue. And there is oropharyngeal opening, or we can say editus pharyngeus is formed. It is formed from the left and right palatoglossal arch, soft palate and tongue. And remember that in between palatoglossal and palatopharyngeal arch, tonsillar sinus are situated. It accommodates palatine tonsil. And let's study about the muscles of soft palate. First, the muscles which attach the soft palate to the root of the tongue is palatoglossal arch. Then with the lateral wall of the pharynx by palatopharyngeus muscle, and then with the petrous temporal bone by tensor palati and levator palati muscle, and lastly with the palatine bone by palatinus muscle. Here we ends the palate, and then let's study about cheeks. It is composed of skin, muscles, gland and mucous membrane. It forms the lateral wall of the mouth, and the muscular layer is formed by the buccinator, levator and depressor muscle of the face. It is more capacious in herbivores. The primary support is the buccinator muscle, which has the important function of returning the food to the mouth cavity proper that has entered into the vestibule. And the buccal gland are arranged in the 3 rows, that is dorsal, middle and ventral within the musculature. In ruminants whose food may be dry and rough, additional protection is required because a very thick and much cornified epithelium would limit the flexibility. Protection is provided by large, closely spaced, cornified pointed papillae which is directed backward. The papillae salivis is also situated in the mucous membrane opposite to the second molar tooth, where parotid duct opened into the mouth. And then let's study about tongue. It is highly movable and muscular structure. It occupies the greater part of the oral cavity, and it is also extends into the oropharynx. Function of tongue is prehension, which means to grasp or hold something. Second is mastication, which means chewing. Third is deglutition, which means process of swallowing. Fourth is taste, and lastly it plays very important role in speech. It is present on the floor of the mouth between 2 rami. Then it has 3 parts: root, body and apex. First is root. It is very thick and attached to the hyoid bone, mandible by hyoglossal and genioglossus, then soft palate by anterior pillars, and then pharynx by muscles and membrane, and lastly epiglottis by glossoepiglottic fold. And the dorsal surface is free and the ventral surface is fixed. It is fixed by the frenum linguae, which is the wide fold of mucous membrane. And then body. The dorsal surface is known as dorsum linguae, which is free. In cattle, the caudal part of the dorsal surface of the tongue, that is dorsum linguae, is raised to form a large prominence, which is known as torus linguae. It has tendency to collect the food. And then apex. The border is rounded, the anterior part is free and highly protactile, and then posterior part is broad. Apex is thin and blunt. And remember that the dorsal aspect of the canine tongue is marked longitudinally by the median groove from which a septum extends into the tongue, as you can see in the figure. Then let's study about different types of papillae. Based on the function of the papillae, they are grouped into mechanical papillae and gustatory papillae. Mechanical papillae protects the deeper structure from injury, and the gustatory papillae includes taste buds, and the mechanical papillae do not have taste buds. Mechanical papillae includes filiform papillae, conical papillae, marginal papillae, and gustatory papillae includes fungiform papillae, valid papillae, and foliate papillae. Remember that mechanical papillae are more numerous than gustatory papillae. Then first start with the filiform papillae. Filiform papillae is numerous and it is smallest. It is distributed along the dorsal surface and the rostral surface of transverse groove, and then conical papillae. They are large but less frequent. They are scattered widely along the dorsal surface of the feline tongue and the base of the tongue in ox, which accounts for the rasp-like structure typically in these species. It is directed anteriorly, or we can say the anterolaterally. Then the marginal papillae. These are present only in newborn carnivores and piglets. It helps in suckling. And then we study about fungiform papillae. It is larger than filiform papillae. It is scattered among the filiform papillae and it has taste buds. Then study about valate and circumvalvate papillae. It is larger in size and it is 7 to 8 in number in each sides. Each papillae is encircled by a wall, that is why it is called as circumvallate papillae. And the gland open at the valate papillae is known as gustatory gland. And then let's study briefly about taste bud. It is situated in the epithelium of gustatory papillae. It has oval body, a neck and a taste pore. It comprises the elongated sustentacular supporting cell and few neuroepithelial cell, that is taste cell. And the unmyelinated fiber is ramified around the base of the taste or gustatory cells. And it also has lingual tonsils, which are aggregation of lymphoid follicle at the root of the tongue. And then let's study about the muscles of tongue. The bulk of the tongue is formed by the muscles, which are extrinsic and intrinsic varieties. The intrinsic muscle consists of bundle of skeletal muscle which is directed in longitudinal, transverse and vertical direction. Generally, the longitudinal muscle are disposed in two layers, that is superior and inferior. Extrinsic muscle are also skeletal and have attachment outside the tongue. They are styroglossal, hyoglossal, palatoglossal and genioglosal. The styloglossal and hyoglossal extends from hyoid bone to the tongue, and the palatoglossals connect the tongue with the soft palate, and lastly genioglossus attach the tongue with the mandible. In case of sheep and goat, the torus linguae is less prominent and the filiform papillae are soft and smooth, and the fungiform papillae are more in number. And remember that rabbit shows highest density of taste buds in foliate papillae. Foliate papillae are short and presents 5 pairs of epithelial folds separated by pallar grooves on lateral and caudal margins of the tongue. And then let's study about tongues of different animal. First, tongue of horse. The body is narrow and the apex is spatula shaped. Torus linguae is also absent, and on the either side of root and in front of anterior pillar, some foliate papillae are present. Valate papillae is also present and they are usually 2 in number and are placed on either side of the median plane. Then tongue of dog. It is highly mobile and as I already told, dorsal surface presents a median groove. The valate papillae are 2 to 3 in number in each side. Foliate papillae are also present. And the ventral part of the tongue contain a rod-shaped fibrous body known as lysa, which lies in the median plane beneath the ventral mucosa. It extends from almost the tip of the tongue to the root of the tongue but does not reach the hyoid bone. It is composed of fibrous connective tissue, adipose tissue, striated muscle fiber, vessels and nerves. And then let's study about tongue of pig. Torus linguae is absent and the filiform papillae are soft and the valate papillae are 2 to 3 in number. Glossoepiglottic fold is well developed. There are 2 frenum linguae in this animal. Foliate papillae are also present. Lastly, let's study about the tongue of fowl. It is triangular rigid structure comprised of a fixed base and is considered as a free part. It is attached with a well developed hyoid bone. Rostrally on the dorsal surface there is a median groove and also lingual papilla is present at the dorsal surface of the base. It is a transverse row of papilla. Thanks for watching till the end. Therefore, there is a bonus information for all of you, that is about chick pouch. Diverticula of the oral vestibule, that is cheek pouch, occur in certain rodents, monkey, platypus, as well as in the marsupial koala. These pouches have storage function and enable the animal to harvest its food rapidly, and it also help in stowing purpose. They attain a considerable size in hamster, reaching well onto the thorax. When developed to this degree, the pouch have their own supporting musculature, and the female of some species of hamster are known to hide their young in their cheek pouch to carry them away from the danger place. Stay safe and let's meet in the next video.